Welcome to another episode of Morning Mojo with me, Shane Solomon. I'm super excited today because I've got Chris Bentley in the studio. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm really well, yeah. Feeling quite relaxed, nice and warm, considering we had unseasonal cold recently.
I know, right? It's been getting on my wick, all the cold, but it's always warm on the inside.
Yeah.
Always warm on the inside. Now, I want to get straight into the podcast because people's attention is quite short these days. How do you start your day? The Morning Mojo for Chris Bentley, how does it start?
I start with an act of love. So there was a great piece in the Sunday Times a long time ago. All of the writers wrote about what is love, and they're all talking about the great experiences that they've had and going to the Taj Mahal and bits and bobs. And then A.A. Gill, one of my favourite writers, he said, "I make a cup of tea and I go back to bed, and my wife and I share a cup of tea, and the act of that is what we do." So what I do most mornings is roll out of bed, go downstairs, make a cup of tea for my wife. I don't drink tea. Come back, give her a cup of tea. That's what I start with.
That, and it's that act of thankfulness, isn't it? The simple things, right? Start with manifesting
it's just something kind for Mrs. B, and then we tell each other we love each other a bit soppy. But now what's happened is obviously everyone's keen on the mindfulness piece. We're sort of doing these things. I was talking to a pal of mine at lunch today. I'm going on this redactive trip where there's things I just do instinctively that people are like, you need to do this, you need to do that. So we start with a cup of tea, tell each other we love each other, what we're looking forward to in the day, and then we crack on.
Well, there we go, people. Keep it simple.
I'm a big fan of Stoic principles. Limit your aspirations, pleasures maximized.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited to have you here because we have known of each other for a while.
Yeah.
I've recently seen you at the wonderful Hugs charity function that they had.
That was lively.
That was brilliant.
You should be dancing at that next year.
Did they
say?
They did say about it. But I dance like an MFI wardrobe, and it's just not going to happen.
If you do it, I'll do it.
Oh, mate. Do you know what? I said I'll support you.
You'll have two MFI wardrobes.
Good Lord. But, I'll support them to the nth degree for sure. But, we've known each other for a while now. Yeah. I was first made aware of you by the wonderful Stuart Morrison, who's a very close person in my network, and he really just raved about you. He said, you've got to meet Chris. He said, he's an absolute good egg. But just tell us your kind of background, because you're used to be in the sporting world.
Yeah, well... I played professional. My source of income for 13 years was rugby union, and I was fortunate enough to travel around the world on the back of that. Predominantly played for a club in the northwest, Orrell, and a club in the southwest, Exeter. And then when I finished with Exeter, I joined the commercial team. Did 6 years there. At the period of time where the Chiefs won the Premiership, were pushing through Europe. So it was boys' own stuff. I was able to roll up the scar, show, tell the story, sell the sponsorship. We did exponential growth, record income. And then I felt there was a bit of a ceiling on top of me and moved on and joined my wife with a little marketing agency. So we've got a little bijou marketing agency, Smith & Baker. And then because I'm a bit peculiar, I've got a few different interests as well. So I do a networking event. I'm half a building brands with Dave Briggs, who's an absolute legend. I put on sporting dinners, I host events. I've got a crypto interest, and I've all sorts.
You are a force, my friend, of positivity. I see you online. It inspires. And the idea of these podcasts is for me to get some remarkable people in. For those people who are listening, just looking for that kind of spark, that little mojo they're missing, for many reasons. Because have you always been self-driven, Chris? I mean, there must have been a time where you might have been a bit shy.
One of my favourite quotes is Babe Ruth. It's hard to beat the person that doesn't give up. I don't like giving up. And I'm very competitive. So as a rugby player, I was gifted that I'm massive. But beyond that, I was most improved player 3 years on the bounce when I started, which suggests when I first began, I couldn't even chew gum and run. But I just kept trying and kept trying. And an example, I play volleyball now with a load of old boys. And when we play volleyball, they said, "Oh, you played former professional rugby player. We're going to have to put a handicap on you." I was like, "You won't, lads, genuinely." And after a few weeks, they're like, "You're terrible." I wasn't very good, but I just try really hard. And now with the volleyball guys, I've most improved 3 years out of the last 5. I just try really hard at things. I stick with it. I can't give you the exact quote, but it's Einstein is not more intelligent than people. He just sticks at problems longer than other people do.
Sure.
And that's sort of what I do. I just stick at it. And then in sales, we'll bring it to a sales thing.
Yeah, we will.
You don't get them on the first pitch, you get them on the 51st.
Sure.
Just keep grinding.
Well, I'll tell you what, that leads nicely into my next kind of question for you, really, and that is mastering the cold call.
Yeah.
What's your kind of take on that?
Oh, well, I'm doing a bit of reading at the moment. Somebody said only 7% of people have finished Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. I'm on page 178 at the moment, and it's hard work. But it's about how your brain is programming type 1 and type 2 thinking. So I've got another pal of mine, Neil Wilson, suggested try the monkey paradox. The chimp paradox. And I exercise the chimp. So you're very quickly to paraphrase, your instinctual thought is your chimp. So, if I put my hand on something hot, pull away, don't even think about it, it's happened. Your chimp is there to save your life. But you've also got yourself where you're thinking a bit better. Now, the chimp is going, don't make the cold call, it's horrible, it's not going to be nice, you're not going to enjoy it, you're talking to a stranger. I exercise my chimp. So I catastrophize all of the problems that could take place until it becomes ridiculous. And then my rational brain kicks in and goes, Chris, right, you've dealt with this, pick up the phone and make the call. And I make the call. And so I am comfortable making cold calls once I've exercised my chimp. Long answer.
Yeah, well, an interesting one. I mean, for me, I'm always interested where people's entrepreneurial journey started.
Yeah.
Where was it for you? Was it an early age you thought, do you know what, I'm destined to?
No, I was a rugby player. So I've always been peculiar because when I was a young man, I wanted to be educated, but I didn't know what I want to be educated in. And there was a magnificent teacher, Mr. Leffley, said, Chris, 50% of philosophy graduates go into non-specific graduate employment. It's the most open-ended degree you can do. So I chose to do a degree in philosophy. So as an aspirant rugby player, I'm playing for England under 21s. I'm touring Argentina with David Flatman, Ben Cohen, World Cup winner. There's a few others that are in that team. I'm sat there reading Descartes' Meditations and Hume's Treatise into Human Understanding. So I've been a slightly peculiar fish, but I've just been driven. And whatever I do, I'm fired. Well, here's the quote: I'm either fired with enthusiasm or I'm being fired with enthusiasm.
Sure.
I just want to do things with a real luster and fun for it. So I just pile into things and go for it.
And this is why I really was chuffed when I heard that you was coming on the show. Yeah. When Megan said to me, we got Chris Bentley coming on, I was fired up for sure. You mentioned philosophy. Yes. What is Chris Bentley's philosophy for life?
Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. There's a few different things, and I've got my memento mori coin that I have on my bed every night that I have a look at and just remind myself it's all going to end. So don't take anything too seriously. Hence the attire.
I was going to mention that Chris has turned up today. For those who are not watching this and are listening on Spotify, Chris has turned up as someone who thinks he's a drug dealer. Chris, explain what you're wearing here for people.
I've got my red Stan Smiths, which are very important. We like a Stan Smith. I've got a few pairs of them. And then Money Clothing, they make tracksuits with slightly longer arms because I've got really long arms, so they fit me. So I bought a jumper and then I saw they did tracksuits, so I bought a few. Yeah. And they're a bit ridiculous. So it's a blue tracksuit with silver and gold apes monogrammed across it, and then I've got red t-shirt, red trainers, and my Quiet Rebellion socks.
It is remarkable.
Yes.
It's remarkable. But see, I like things like that, you know?
Well, look, I've seen your shirts and I thought if I'm going on Solomon's show, I'm going to have to look half decent. And I can't, there's no way I'm going to beat you for shirts. So I thought I'll go daft for the trackie.
I don't know. I come across stiff competition all the time. I was recently at an event in London supporting the Cornwall Ambulance at the Corinthia Hotel, and Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen was there.
I bet you he came up to you and said, where'd you get your shirt?
Mate, to be fair, there was because I went for a plain shirt because I had a nice jacket.
Right.
But then he had a nice jacket because I don't focus too much on my jackets. Yeah. He beat me hands down.
Oh,
but mate, I should have just gone with the shirt thing. Silly of me, but there we are.
Lesson learned.
I know. I won't do it again.
Yeah.
Going back to the sales side of things, how do you think sales has changed? Because now you're kind of like me, we're in our 40s, so what about your journey from when you started selling?
I was retarded in my journey in sales because I played rugby till I was 34, and then I came into the world of selling. I think the main thing is there's possibly a little bit more friendliness to it. I think sales used to be very direct and very transactional.
Yes.
Whereas now it's very relational.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more.
I'm a huge advocate of soft selling. So although I will make a cold call, when I make a cold call, I probably won't try to sell anything. I'll just try and build a relationship, have a chat, see if there's a rapport. If we're doing well in that capacity, then I'll leave it at that. And you're 5 to 7 times more likely to work with people you like. Hence my not working networking. I have an event where no one talks about business.
Yes.
But in doing so, people manage to do business because they build relationships.
That's right.
And so I would say we've gone from transactional to relational.
I agree with you 100%. So then being seen and heard, and this could link in nicely with your networking side of things, what's the best way, in your humble opinion, for people to be seen and heard in this day and age when there's so many things going on out there?
I think be genuine. There's a pal of mine, John Payne, and we went out for lunch, and he went, Chris, you really do have a childlike wonder for the world. I was like, yeah, I do. I am just me, and I'm not trying to impress anybody. And it's taken me a while to just relax and be my own self. And I am a bit peculiar and a bit daft, but people that like me sort of come magnetized towards me. I magnetize towards people that I like. And in doing so, it seems to be working. So be your genuine self. Don't be worried about what they think. Too many people are concerned about what they think, and they don't matter.
Yes, just focus on yourself, right?
Yeah,
don't worry about what they're doing.
Yeah, and if you're genuine and authentic, it starts to work out.
Your inspirations when growing up, who were they? Were they sporting stars? Were they?
Oh, well, my dad.
Nice,
As for most young boys, it's their dad. So I was really inspired by my old man. He's been ace. We're still mates. Speak to him every day. I'm blessed that he's still in good health.
Brilliant.
And hopefully he's moving into our house in the not too distant with mum. And then I quite like Wade Dooley. It was ridiculous for me. So I like rugby union. And Wade Dooley, the Blackpool Tower. And I was a young up-and-comer as a 17-year-old, and 40-year-old Wade Dooley signed for the club I was at. So every Tuesday and Thursday, my hero beat me up. And then on a match day, I'd bind in the scrum with him and say, right, lad, get through the scrum and hit someone, or I'll hit you. And I used to have a really difficult decision. I've either got to punch someone or Wade's going to punch me, and he's my hero. So he was quite inspirational to me. And another one of my mentors was a bloke called Nick Allett, who sadly has passed away. But there's, I mean, you can pick all the silly ones. And the other thing for me is, obviously, I've got a quote database. Obviously, no one knows. I've got a quote database. So I have a list of thousands of quotes from all sorts of different people that I pick upon and use depending on the situation I'm in. So lots of different people inspire me.
So many quotes out there as well. It's and what next then for Chris Bentley? What's the next couple of years?
Keep on keeping on. Global expansion. so Smith King Baker, our core business, we've got a list of clients that are sort of retained, and we do a bit of work for them. Not working, networking, we're starting to move up country. We've got the Notties Awards on the side of that, which is doing well. Building brands, similar direction. We're moving up country, and we've come down into Cornwall. So we've got Building Brands Cornwall in March. We've got Building Brands Exeter, Building Brands Plymouth, Building Brands Bristol, so that's going quite nicely. And then sporting dinners, I put on a fair few sporting dinners. I'm trying to divert away from rugby union. I've done a few with rugby players, so I'm trying to find some other sporting people.
Have you done any down here in Cornwall?
No, I need to.
I would like to talk to you about that
100%.
Off camera, because I've had quite a few people asking me if I could do something like that.
Then let's go dual banjos. Let's do it together.
Absolutely.
Really keen.
We'll sort that out for sure.
My favourite acronym, team. Together, everyone achieves more.
Exactly.
Let's make a team.
Exactly.
This could be the moment. I've got to look to this could be the moment.
This could be the moment. Collaboration is key. I love collaborating as well, you see. Yeah. And I'm an active member of the sporting club in London. I don't know if you've been there before, but that's an example of Ian Stafford, who founded that. It's just hit the nail on the head. It's so good. Yeah. So I'm off to see Harry Redknapp for dinner next week. And they just have a good variety of guests there. That's
the one.
Warren Gatland was in last year. They had Mo Farah in. Just a whole plethora of wonderful, inspiring people.
But this is. I was very fortunate to know David Duckham. Went to a lot of his events, and he had the Southern Sporting Club, and sadly he died. And that's sort of what the void I've tried to step into with the sporting suppers. And because I was the corporate MC at Exeter Chiefs for 6 years, I knew a lot of people.
Sure.
So I sort of kickstarted it in that way. But I absolutely categorically want to find some venues aside from Exeter where I'm based, so we can do the similar sort of thing.
So just to sum up our kind of podcast, your best inspiring life lesson.
Best inspiring life lesson. Well, do you know what? It's some people might see this as really negative. Just understand it's all going to end. If you realise you know very little about your great-great-great-grandparents, and your great-great-great-grandchildren know very little about you. Enjoy what you're doing. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam: drink the liquor of the cup of life, lest the liquor runs dry. There you go.
I like that. In fact, I did hear something similar to that not so long ago, and you start thinking, you know, how much do you know of your great-grandparents? Well, you don't, do you?
No, legacy, for most of us, legacy is very brief.
Yes.
And therefore you've got to, well, but then I'll go on to Paul Dolan, London School of Economics, happiness professor. If you limit your pleasures, if you limit your aspirations, your pleasures are maximized. So there's a pendulum. Happiness is pleasure and purpose through time. If you want to have massive pleasures, if you want to go on a yacht off the coast of Monaco, drinking Veuve Clicquot and going berserk, you're going to have to work very hard the other way. Whereas if you can be really happy with a slice of toast, you know, it's felt the same. So just limit your aspirations. Pulling on a new pair of socks, love it.
Especially yours as well. I know there's people listening.
Size 14s, yeah.
You know, they're not shoes, they're skis. I just want to say before we finish, I'm looking forward to collaborating with you more.
Yep.
and doing more. I'm so grateful that you've come along here today. I just want to say a massive thank you to each of the sponsors on our podcast. This one's sponsored by Your Referral Club. I'm not sure if you've heard of that yet, but Referral Club is something we launched.
Your Referral Club sounds cool.
With Brock, with your partnerships, we've done something a little separate there. And it's all about getting businesses to look after each other through introductions, through preferred treatment. You know, so if you go out for a meal or something like that, you put your referral card down, they're going to give you 20% off.
7 times more likely to work with your mates.
You know, and that's what it's just that. It's just spreading.
Creating virtuous circles.
Indeed. So my thanks to Referral Club for sponsoring this episode.
Cheers,
yeah, you guys are awesome. But yeah, let's keep watching your journey. Yeah. You are a fascinating watch on socials, that's for sure.
I'm just having fun.
Well, if you're not having fun, don't do it, right? Yeah. But make sure you connect with Chris Bentley. We'll make sure that all your
Chris
links.
Bentley 4 on LinkedIn, CC Bentos on Insta and Twitter. But Twitter, I'm just angry about rugby.
Yeah, I'm still angry about Twitter knocking me off there. To be fair, the bat just cut me off.
Honestly?
Yeah. My account was hacked. I went to get back into it, got it back. 2 weeks later, they just said, no, we're deleting your account for violation of. I said, I never did anything. I've been on it for like 15 years.
I wouldn't be happy with that.
And I just, I couldn't be bothered to fight it because it was negative energy. I don't do that.
Yeah.
So I thought,
just do TikTok instead.
Goodbye X. Yeah, exactly.
12,000. But to be honest, it is negative. The algorithm now, just it's people fight. It's always people fighting.
Yeah. I just don't want it. No. Don't want it in my life.
No, I got you.
But I want you in my life, Chris. I'm glad I've got
down.
you.
I'm in.
Mate, what a pleasure.
We're bros.
We are.
This has happened. It's happening right now.
I'm now going to get hold of my Martin and Budge contacts to see if I can get a tracksuit like this man. But Chris Bentley, make sure you check him out, Connect, and I will see you and you will listen to us in the next episode of Morning Mojo. Thank you very much, as always, to the team, Megan and Jay behind the scenes. See you next time. Thanks, Chris.
No worries. Growing it.